this. I want my pan to get hot. There's my canola oil again. A lot of the recipes that I cook are Italian recipes, and people think Italians always have to cook with olive oil. Truth is, I really only use olive oil for my salads and maybe for, at the end as like a finishing oil, so as to not ruin all the flavor. I really don't fry a lot with olive oil. Let me grab my chicken, which is right behind my producer. Isn't she doing a great job? Well, let me tell you something about chicken, folks. In my experience as a home cook, chicken always needs some help. So whenever I cook with chicken, any kind of chicken, I usually throw it in a marinade, but since this is a recipe that calls for pan frying, I'm going to salt it and pepper it before I even put it into my seasoned flour. Chicken always needs a little help. Okay? Let that get hot. I have a long package of chicken here. Mrs. Langdon is going to take some of this chicken home, so I'm going big and doing 2 packages here. She likes to eat, I heard. It wasn't on sale, but that's okay. She's my friend and I love her. Okay, just going to season up my chicken before I stick it into the mixture. Waiting for my oil to get hot. Let's see here. How we doing? Not quite there yet. Well, let's see what we could do. What we could do is start dredging in the flour. And what I'll do is this. So this will go a little quicker for everybody. Once you get bored, what are you going to do? There's nothing new on television anyway. Just watch me dredge my chicken. I'm just going to pile them here on the side until my pan is hot enough to start frying this up. Now, I'm a lazy soul, so I bought my chicken already sliced scallopini style. If boneless, skinless chicken breasts are on sale, you can certainly cut your own chicken, but I find that anytime I do a pan-fried chicken, whether it's a chicken franchaise or it's a chicken marsala or chicken, what's with the mozzarella, what's it called, Parmesan, I like to have, scallopini style chicken. Makes it a little lighter, not so big. So you can actually cut it that way yourself if you don't want to buy it that way. A little cheaper. Almost there. I want my pan hot so the chicken doesn't get tough. I don't know why that's a rule, but it is. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. Kind of like how I was told to make these videos. Just kind of follow rules. I'm a rule follower. Do what I'm told to do. But this is fun. Okay. So I'm going to just do a small batch of this. It's like 6 pieces of chicken. But if you make this for a party, instead of doing everything all in one pan, starting to come up to temperature a little bit. Instead of, you'd fry it all in one pan, then I could lay it in a big sheet pan and I could finish this recipe in the oven if I was doing this for a party. But it would be the same steps. Just throw a little bit of flour in there. If it starts to bubble a little bit, I could see that my pan is ready to go. It's just not quite there yet. I'm going to wash my hands in the meantime. making a mess. This is delicious. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this recipe. Okay. Mrs. Langdon, I forgot a very important part of this. My oil is going to need some garlic, but not the chopped garlic, so I'm just going to take 3 cloves of whole garlic, clean them up quick. Pop the skin off. Come on there, buddy boy. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. 3 whole pieces of garlic is going to go into my oil. And that garlic is going to flavor the oil. You know, maybe you noticed when I was taking the skin off of that with the side of my knife, I gave the garlic a good whack. You kind of want it to crack a little bit. That helps it to release the oils while it's cooking and will help to flavor this oil. Okay? That was an important step. Okay? Sorry about that. Be screwing up the recipe before we start cooking the chicken. Thanks, Mrs. Langdon, for reminding me of the garlic. Don't forget the garlic. Okay? Now, very quickly, we're going to do this pretty quick. I'm going to dip my floured chicken into my egg and lemon, and it's going right into the pan. Oh, that's the sound of pure joy. That is one happy piece of chicken right there. Now, you don't want to overcrowd the pan, so I'm going to do this in batches as I can fit it. And see if I can find a small piece here. I thought some, yeah, there's a nice small piece. And we'll get 3 of these going. Look at that. Oh my gosh, smell it? Can you smell that once that hits the pan? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And there's number 3. Right in the pan. Let her go. Dish in waiting, ready to go. Okay, how are we looking here? It's a really light chicken to make, so it's really tastes good all year long. Now what I'm going to look for around the edges here, can you get in close there? You can see how it's starting to whiten up. So once I feel like that whiteness is starting to come around the edges, I'm going to take a look at the underside of this. I want a nice, little bit more, want a nice little browning on that. I work on an electric stove cooktop. If your cooktop at home is gas, this process would go a lot quicker for you. Gas is a lot easier to cook on than this electric. I'm getting there. I think this one's probably ready. This one looks good. See that nice? See that nice brown? And as I do more of these, that will brown quicker. Not bad. Not bad for our first 3 pieces. Are you still reading? Oh. We're just going to keep going. So this is not a recipe that my family, I didn't grow up with this, but I love chicken franchise, and you know, you know your taste, you know what your tastes are. Just play on YouTube, and you know, just Google different recipes, and you can tweak your recipes to your own tastes. I know some people that actually add thyme into their chicken franchise. If you like the flavor of thyme, throw it into your flour mixture. at the end. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Just going to let it go one more minute, and we're going to do another batch. And then you'll see that we're going to do the sauce in the same pan. We're going to add the chicken back in, and then it'll cook until it thickens up and the chicken is cooked all the way through. This is a great recipe, delicious. Then again, everything Mrs. McHale makes is delicious. Okay, I'm just gonna leave these garlic pieces in this oil until I feel like it's gonna get some splashes. So I'm gonna protect my pretty shirt. You know, cooking, it's not a fashion show. Cooking in the kitchen is not a fashion show. Mrs. Langdon would probably argue with me because she thinks everything is a fashion show. Right, Mrs. Langdon?
Yes, I do.
She's really here. I'm not talking to myself. So let's go to our next batch of cutlets. You know, just be careful that oil doesn't splash up at you. You know, don't forget your hot pan, right? And oil burns are not fun. It's not a fun burn to deal with. So just be careful. Once they're in, just kind of leave them alone. Let them do their thing. Don't play with your food, Grandma always said, right? Today we're taping all chicken recipes. So if you don't like chicken, I don't know what to tell you. We've got all chicken recipes today. Okay? Ready? Then we just have 2 more pieces to fry up. I turned down my heat to like a medium heat. Okay? So now for the pan sauce for this delicious chicken franchise. I'm going to cut off a half a stick of butter. And I'm going to throw it in my pan. And I'm going to make a roux. A roux is equal parts fat and flour. This is not for the weak of heart. So I'm going to go about 3 tablespoons of flour, and we'll check where we are in a minute. This is my fancy whisk. It's a beater from my hand mixer. Sometimes you just got to improvise. So I'm going to incorporate that flour into this. It'll start looking better in a little bit. Get all those bits off the bottom. Whenever you make a roux and you're working with flour and fat in a hot pan, you want to give it a couple minutes. You want to sort of cook the floury taste, or your whatever sauce you're making is going to be overtaken by the flour. I think we need a little bit more, so I'm going to do another tablespoon. Heaping tablespoon. Get it in there. One for good luck. That should do us. Should do us good. Okay, so I'm gonna. There we go. There we go. Cooking isn't mathematical. It's more of a touch and a feel. So this is like the one time that you can play with your food. Not once it's on your plate, you gotta eat your food. But when you're doing recipes, you can play with your food. Alright, so now I'm going to deglaze my pan. Whenever I cook with alcohol, chicken or fish, I like to use a Pinot Grigio. There's really only and that was about a cup. That sound you're hearing is the alcohol doing its job, getting all those bits of chicken that we just cooked up off the bottom of the pan. And you can see, oh, you smell it? Smell that, Mrs. Langan?
Yes, I do.
Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Stir, stir, stir. You don't want this to burn. I'm going to take that off the heat while I get my chicken stock ready. Yes, chicken stock. I made my own. I made chicken soup earlier in the week, and I froze it. So this is chicken broth going right into my thing. Back to the stirring. We're going to stir it all up. Incorporate all those liquids, and let that alcohol, let that flour do its job of making a delicious, velvety, soon to be lemony sauce for our chicken franchise. See? You know how much you pay for this? In a restaurant? Super easy to do at home. And it's a good looking recipe too. When we plate this up, it's gonna look like you're a pro. Alright, so now for my lemon part. I am a big fan of using the rind of the lemon. This is a, what do you call these?
I just call it my zester. I don't know.
This is a zester, that's the word I was looking for. I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna, and the zest of really any fruit is very powerful. There's a lot of flavor in that. This is the perfect tool, perfect kitchen tool to get to bring your recipes up to another level. Okay? Let's get that zest in there and let the oils of that lemon really turn this into something great. Okay? Alright, now give it a roll. Give it a roll. Loosen it up a little bit. Cut it in half. And through my fingers, because I want to catch all the seeds. I don't have one of those little fancy things to catch the seeds, so I use, you know, who was it that said, you know, the best tools in the kitchen to use in the kitchen are your own two hands. My grandma, God rest her soul, came from Italy, came to this country from Italy, and she made everything by hand before we had any fancy tools. She didn't have a KitchenAid back in the day, but she had her two hands, and she had some big Italian lady guns that she used to roll her dough for her pasta and roll her meatballs. When I do things like this, I always like to think that she's with me in the kitchen. My grandma and my aunts, my ancestors that went before me, telling me right now, okay, honey, that's enough lemon. Put it down. See, you have to listen. You have to listen to your elders. So let's let this sauce come up to a little. I'm going to give it another stir. See how it's kind of thickening a little bit? I don't know if you can see that. And it's okay. Like these little bits of brown, that's all deliciousness. That's what makes this really come together. So now we're going to kind of let this go. I'm on a medium heat. I'm on a little bit over a 4. So now what I'm going to do, what do you think I'm going to do? Any guesses out there in social media land? I'm going to put my chicken back in the sauce. And this sauce is going to tenderize the meat very gently, very carefully. And you'll notice as I start putting these pieces of chicken back in this pan that while it was resting, it kind of made its own juices. All that's going to go back in this pan. And it's going to make it even better. So there's not a lot of waste here. And these first two pieces were big. This is laying in. They were big. Okay, so all my chicken's back in my pan. And the juices that it was resting on. Very good. Okay. All right. And now this is going to finish cooking on a stovetop. I don't cover it because I kind of want the I want this sauce to thicken a little bit, so I don't cover it. I'm going to turn it up to maybe a 6 until it comes to a nice gentle simmer. Gentle simmer. I don't want a hard rolling boil. I want a gentle simmer. And I'm going to say we'll let this go on the stove for maybe a half an hour. And by that time, when we come back to it, chicken franchise should be done and delicious. The wine that's in the cooking sauce is going to tenderize that chicken. This will be fork tender. This recipe is a winner. Okay? We'll see you in a half an hour. Our chicken franchise. This has been simmering nicely for a good hour now. Oh my God! You see how it's real flexible there? That means it's ready for some nice fork tender. You won't even need a knife to cut into this.
That looks beautiful.
That looks really good, doesn't it? It smells delicious. What does Emerald say? I wish we had smell-o-vision. We don't have smell-o-vision. Oh, I'm getting a little carried away now, huh?
Yeah.
Carried away. It's been a long afternoon. Mrs. Langdon's been a champ. She's been with me all day here, putting these recipes together. When you're not listening, she throws in her 2 cents and tells me what I'm doing wrong, too. Okay. All right, so that's what it looks like. Sans gravy. I wouldn't even call this a gravy. What do you call it? Just a sauce.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to...
A little.
There we go. Give it a little of that. All right. I'm not going to throw this out. There's still some more in there, so we're going to... When I pack this up for later on, I'll have sauce on the side. Now, if I were just serving this for my husband and myself, we would just dig in the way it is. You want to make it look pretty because you're having people over. You could top it with fresh slices of lemon. You could top it with chopped parsley. I actually did get some chopped parsley, but you know we're running a little long here, so I'm just going to kind of leave it the way it is. That's just all extra anyway. Certainly, if you're doing this for a party, if you make a bunch of these, you can cut them up smaller and do them in batches and put it in a big long tray. I have finished this off in the oven for an hour instead of doing it over the stovetop, and you could serve this for a party relatively quickly and relatively easily without any problem. This is a great dish. I know you're going to love the chicken franchise. That is Chef Pasquale Scarapa from YouTube. I believe this is his recipe. I hope I didn't damage it too much for him. Have a great day, HA Chicken Franchise.